doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you.
In the grim year 2025, Hollywood's glittering facade crumbled under the weight of its dark secrets, and justice, long dormant, reawakened. Inside the federal courthouse, an eerie silence hung as all eyes fixated on Sean "Diddy" Combs in his containment cell. A once glamorous mogul, now a blighted symbol of decay. Beyond the courtroom, billions across the digital galaxy devoured every detail of his trial, their collective tension spiking, pushing the Omnigate info hub to critical alert. Yet, even more captivating and scrutinized was Ellen DeGeneres. Not incarcerated, but her public presence was a haunting specter. Millions of whispers and relentless algorithms linked her name with Diddy's, transforming her into a figure cursed by virtual rumor and digital accusation. This wasn't just a trial, it was the unmasking of an era, with Ellen caught in its blinding, destructive light. On September 17, 2024, a chilling sense of clarity descended upon the federal courthouse in New York. Prosecutor Evelyn Reed, a formidable presence in the courtroom, began her case against Sean "Diddy" Combs. Her voice was sharp and unwavering as she declared that this trial would uncover not just the actions of one man, but the corruption of an entire system that had been hiding behind Hollywood's glamorous image. She revealed the shocking details of federal raids on Combs' luxurious properties, conducted on March 25, 2024. The charges were staggering: sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation for prostitution. As images of a handcuffed and enraged Diddy flickered on the large courtroom screens, the digital galaxy buzzed with tension. For Ellen DeGeneres, the news wasn't just a far-off scandal, it was her own personal nightmare. With every headline, the weight of public scrutiny grew heavier, and soon a low hum of outrage began to reverberate through the digital world. Though her name had not yet been mentioned, the algorithms had already started to link her to Diddy. It was as if the very breath of public opinion was turning against her. Ellen, the once beloved daytime queen, could already feel the digital noose tightening around her, and with it came an undeniable sense of dread. By September 18, 2024, the focus of the courtroom shifted dramatically. Prosecutor Reed introduced a chilling piece of evidence, an audio recording from Stephen "tWitch" Boss, Ellen's beloved former sidekick. tWitch, who had tragically passed away in December 2022, was more than just a colleague to Ellen. He was family. The audio, though distorted and filled with static, revealed tWitch pleading with a terrified woman about the horrible things Diddy had done, describing them as devilish acts. The courtroom fell silent, and Ellen, sitting at home, could feel a chill settle in her bones. She was gripped by an icy fear that the whispers of tWitch's death, once mere suspicions, were now rapidly coalescing into something much darker. As the recording played, the digital galaxy erupted into chaos. A viral video titled, "Judge Orders Ellen DeGeneres Arrest After tWitch's Recording is Played in Diddy's Trial," quickly amassed millions of views. The video wasn't just sensational, it was weaponized. It spread lies and rumors, falsely implicating Ellen in Diddy's crimes. The digital world exploded with accusations, and despite efforts by fact-checking bots to quell the storm, Ellen found herself trapped in a whirlwind of misinformation. The once celebrated icon of kindness and humor was now portrayed as an accomplice in a horrific criminal network, and the world was eager to believe it. It was a journey back in time, into the opulent yet insidious mansions of Miami and Los Angeles, revealing the depths of Diddy's depravity. This wasn't merely a display of facts, it was a descent into the dark heart of Hollywood, where the lines between star and prey blurred under the manipulative gaze of a predator. And with each horrifying revelation, the public's perception of Ellen DeGeneres grew darker, unjustly linking her to this malevolent network. The descent began on a sweltering night in May of 2018 at Diddy's Star Island mansion in Miami. He, Sean Diddy Combs, then in his late 40s, exuded an almost predatory charm. His eyes, often hidden behind designer shades, held a cold, calculating gleam, always seeking new avenues for power and control. He sat on his velvet throne, a self-proclaimed king in his gilded cage, observing the swirling chaos of his party. Beside him, Cassie Ventura, a stunning singer and model in her early 30s, looked utterly exhausted. Her forced smile barely masked the deep-seated fear in her eyes. She was trapped, a star ensnared in a web of ambition and torment. "Cassie, my dear," Diddy would purr, his voice a silken thread. "You know, your career, it depends on your flexibility. Don't you agree?" His words, laced with insinuation, were weapons. Cassie had endured his rages, his late-night summons, his grotesque demands. She had witnessed him verbally and physically abuse other women, often right in front of her. The fear was a constant tremor beneath her skin. The chilling tapestry of Diddy's dark empire was interwoven with the tragic shadow of Stephen "Twitch" Boss. It was the evening of December 10th, 2022, just days before his untimely death. Twitch, in his dressing room after a taping of The Ellen Show, looked weary, the studio lights unable to mask the profound sadness in his eyes. He was on a video call, his voice strained with desperation. "I don't know, man. Everything, it's just gotten too heavy. I've seen some things, some truly horrible things, with those people, with Diddy." His voice dropped, filled with a palpable sense of betrayal and despair. "Ellen, she has no idea, or at least she doesn't want to know. I've tried to hint, but she just brushes it off. She lives in a different world." The recording presented in court was a fragment of this very conversation, Twitch desperately pleading with a confidential witness to break the silence. "We can't let them keep doing this," Twitch had urged. "People need to know. Hollywood isn't a paradise. It's a trap, and too many people are caught in it." His passing, officially ruled a suicide, left behind a haunting suspicion and the lingering question of what truths he carried to his grave. And as these grim details unfolded in court, the invisible noose around Ellen DeGeneres' public image tightened further. The morning of September 19th, 2024, found Ellen DeGeneres living her own private nightmare. Her opulent Montecito estate, once a symbol of peace and success, now felt like a besieged fortress, surrounded by the virtual wrath of the public. The very air around her crackled with the energy of a million digital accusations. The rumors of her arrest and connection to Diddy had spread like wildfire across the digital galaxy. Despite Omnigate's anti-misinformation algorithms constantly publishing disclaimers, the wave of hatred was too powerful, too consuming. It was a digital witch hunt, fueled by the shockwaves of Diddy's revelations, and Ellen was its primary unwilling target. Ellen powered down the screen, burying her face in her hands. Her voice was shaky as she spoke to Portia de Rossi, her ever-present wife, her rock in this digital storm. "I don't understand, Portia," Ellen sobbed, tears streaming down her face. "They want to destroy me. They want to tear down everything I've built. Twitch. I loved him. How can they say I would ever do anything to hurt him? I knew nothing of Diddy's affairs. I knew he threw parties, like everyone in Hollywood, but I never stepped foot in his private world. How could I have known what horrors he was perpetrating behind closed doors? My show was about kindness, about making people laugh, about dancing. How can they twist that into this monstrous thing?" Portia embraced her tightly. "I know, Ellen. This is a brutal attack. They're looking for another scapegoat, someone to channel all this righteous anger, and you're a target too big to ignore. Your past controversies, however unrelated, are being weaponized against you now. It's a contagion of accusation, and you're caught in its path. Ellen DeGeneres was no saint. She had faced past criticism for the alleged toxic work environment on her show, and those controversies had certainly eroded her public standing. But these current accusations, linking her to sex trafficking and Diddy, were on an entirely different scale. She knew her public image was severely, perhaps irrevocably, damaged. The very essence of her brand, built on kindness and humor, was being systematically dismantled by an unseen viral enemy. The weight of public opinion, a force as relentless as a celestial body, threatened to crush her. Every mention of Diddy's crimes felt like another nail in her coffin, despite her complete lack of involvement. In a world where information is a weapon, truth is sometimes the first casualty. Ellen DeGeneres, once an icon of joy, now found herself ensnared in a web of deceit, falsely linked to a horror she was utterly oblivious to. Her only hope lay in the final, undeniable truth of the courtroom. The morning of September 20th, 2024, Diddy's trial entered its final critical phase, a crescendo of horror that resonated globally. For Ellen DeGeneres, observing from her Montecito estate, every piece of evidence presented by prosecutor Evelyn Reed felt like another hammer blow, even though it wasn't directly about her. The overwhelming avalanche of encrypted emails, chilling messages, illicit financial transactions, harrowing victim testimonies, and terrifying video footage meticulously recovered from Diddy's private servers painted a damning picture. Each revelation, though focused on Diddy, simultaneously deepened the shadow of public suspicion unfairly cast upon Ellen. Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former music producer and victim, stood as a testament to resilience. His voice, trembling but unwavering, recounted months of abuse, detailing Diddy's abhorrent acts. He is a monster, Lil Rod stated, tears streaming down his face, his raw emotion echoing the pain of countless others. Ellen, watching the feeds, could almost feel the collective agony, acutely aware that the public's hunger for accountability was so fierce, it consumed anyone even tangentially linked to the monstrous revelations. The succession of other victims, both women and men, bravely offered their tearful testimonies, their consistent stories confirming Diddy as a brutal, calculating predator. While Diddy's defense attorney futilely tried to discredit them, the overwhelming weight of truth hung heavy. Diddy in his containment cell visibly crumbled, his arrogance shattering with each new revelation. The afternoon of September 21st, 2024, brought the agonizing wait for the jury's verdict. For Ellen, the hours felt like an eternity, a mirroring of her own ongoing informal public trial. Thousands gathered outside the courthouse, their signs demanding justice for victims and expose Hollywood. And in their collective anger, Ellen knew she remained a perceived symbol of that exposed system. When the jury returned, a deathly silence descended. "We, the jury, have reached a verdict," the foreman stated, her voice clear and firm. "On the charges against Sean Combs, we find the defendant guilty." The single word resonated globally, met by a collective roar of relief. The morning of September 25th, 2024, brought the sentencing. The judge's voice, like a resonating bell, declared Diddy's fate: life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. A wave of jubilant data flooded the digital galaxy, reporting collective euphoria and restoration of trust. Ellen DeGeneres, watching from her estate, let out a shaky breath. This was the moment the legal chapter closed, and with it a sliver of personal vindication. The burden of the false rumors still weighed heavily, a shadow that would linger for years, but one part of the nightmare had concluded. Justice, though slow, had found its path for Diddy. For Ellen, the truth, however distorted by misinformation, had ultimately prevailed in the cold, hard reality of the courtroom. And for the first time in weeks, she felt a fragile glimmer of hope. The digital fires around her still raged, threatening to consume her, but the central, monstrous lie that linked her to Diddy's direct actions had been extinguished by this verdict. In a digital galaxy where truth and deception constantly waged war, the trial of Sean Combs was more than just a personal conviction. It was a searing indictment of a system, a profound wake-up call to an entire world, a stark reminder that no one, no matter their power or renown, can escape the reach of justice. And for Ellen DeGeneres, the battle wasn't just against a criminal, but against the very nature of misinformation itself. Though the formal charges against Diddy closed one horrific chapter, Ellen's own fight to reclaim her narrative, to emerge from the pervasive shadow of false accusation, had just begun. The echoes of Diddy's crimes would eventually fade, but the scars of the digital witch hunt would linger as a stark personal reminder of the fragile line between fame and infamy.